2, 3, 4, the hardest part of the 2, 3, 4, the hardest part of the ring. Hey, it's the hardest part of the ring. Okay, sometimes you go over the top rope and you bang your head on the ring apron. Why do you do that? That's when you feel like a big dope, because they're the worst bumps you can be taking. Oh, it's the hardest part of the ring. It's the hardest part of the ring. 2 more. Sometimes you reach out for the hot tag and you go ahead and make your own comeback. Why do you do that? That's when you should quit wrestling and you're better off rolling in thumbtacks. It's the hardest part of the ring. It's the hardest part of the ring. 1 more. Sometimes you're distracting that referee and the babyface has your wrestler pinned. Then you get punched to the ring apron and you realize all the trouble you're in when it's the hardest part of the ring. It's the hardest part of the ring. Now double claps. Here we go, Bob Squad. Let's make it a good one, because Chris Mewa is working out. 1 more, Chris. Bend at the knees. Straighten those legs. It's the hardest part of the ring. The hardest part of the ring. Bada bada. Hey, whoa, what's going on, Bob Squad? Just bushwhacking our way through another episode of the hardest part of the ring. I am currently on my lunch break from my remote job, and I took a break from my sandwich. I took a break from my kombucha pineapple peach drink to talk about the NXT September 7th, 2021 version of this program with not limited enough commercial interruption. You crazy cats. Wow. I have nothing. This is going to be a hard one to make entertaining, but I will do my best. We got to get the blood pumping. We got to get the heart pumping. We got to get the ice water flowing through the veins, the diesel fuel pumping out of every orifice, like a champ, like an animal, like a beast, like a savage, like a rabid dog, like a runaway freight train daddy. Because you never know if Chris Mewa's listening to this and he's working out, he's getting ripped, chiseled, jacked, stacked, buff, and pumped. You can't stop him. You're going to be able to catch wild bears in those traps. My goodness. Alrighty. He's banging out more dips than a potato chip factory right now. It's absolutely bananas. So we got to keep him fired up here, so I'm going to do my very best. What happens at the top? You know what's more inspiring? You know what'll get you going? You know what'll put the ants in the pants? The piss and vinegar, the butterflies in your stomach? Hulk Hogan slams Andre the Giant at the top of this bad boy. Picks him up right over his head, slams the big, nasty, stinky giant Pontiac Silverdome. I don't know if showing that helps anymore. Remember when it was fun? And then you have to do the math. Hey, 34 years ago, remember when the coolest thing ever happened? And how old is the audience? Younger than WrestleMania 3, for the most part, is the NXT. And the NXT roster is mostly younger than WrestleMania 3. Something to think about. WrestleMania 3, 1987, I had just turned 30. That's not true at all. It's fake. I lied. I fabricated the truth, Bob Squad. That's going to happen. Never trust a worker. We open the show with Ember Moon, the gimmick collector, the woman of 1,000 gimmicks. She's got a furry jacket with leather and a raccoon tail. I'm not kidding. And a shaved mohawk thing with multiple colors and the music. And she's running around and there's just so many gimmicks. I don't know what she is. There's moons painted on her face. There's 14 things going on here at once with Ember Moon. What the hell's an Ember Moon anyway? Ember's like red, right? And she wrestles Kaylee Ray, who comes out the dubstep. And then they go to shake hands, and they both break out glow sticks, and they're both sweating already from all of the Molly. And then they fuck strangers. Bob, seriously, was that necessary at all? It was not. That's not what happened. Kaylee Ray is very Scottish. She has long red hair, and she defeats Ember. It was a competitive contest. It looks like we're building up Kaylee Ray for Raquel Gonzalez, of course. Kaylee could have been a little more dominant here if we're building her up for Raquel, because Raquel and Dakota, really, who we haven't seen since that takeover. Raquel and Dakota pretty much had their way with Ember, so yeah. It was a little too back and forth. I don't remember if it went a second segment or not. It probably did. But anyway, Kaylee gets the 1, 2, 3 with the gory special. One little nitpick. Kaylee had her head down during the pin and looked up afterwards, and I was like, oh, she should have looked up for the 1, 2, 3. You know, the hair is a great visual with Kaylee. It's this long straight hair that just goes everywhere, so it always looks like there's even more motion than there really is. That's why when in stand-up comedy, I wear an unbuttoned collar shirt, because when I twirl this way or twirl that way, I'm not really twirling, but when I twist around, there's more motion. This looks like stuff's happening. Pro wrestlers, don't trust us. Okie dokie. Well, I'm retired. A blonde lady is talking to British guys, and she goes, I'm blonde. And they go, oh, yeah, we're British. And they were kind of rude to her. And then there's a bachelorette party. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. It's a tease for the bachelor party coming up. So that didn't happen yet. But, oof. Oof. I'm actually looking forward to the wedding segment next week. But these were bad. The bachelorette and bachelor parties were very, very bad. Talk about them momentarily. Pardon me. The same blonde lady is returned. She is still blonde, and she talks to William Regal, and she says, "Hey, I'm blonde," and he goes, "I'm British." It was amazing how they just keep beating that to death. And then Regal says, after he says he's British, he announces a four-way next week between Tommaso Ciampa, Kyle O'Reilly, L.A. Knight, and Pete Dunne, who's British. Okay, and oh, the four of them are going to wrestle to see who's the number one contender for Samoa Joe's NXT Championship. You get that. Next up, we have a tag team contest. Casey Catanzaro and Caden Carter. Why are those your names? And they enter the ring, and Casey, bless her heart, she tries to dance around to Caden Carter's music with her, and it just, oof, it looked, she looked like a college girl discovering herself. It's a little awkward, but whatever. She's fun though. She's a fun baby face. Tony Stark and teams up with Io Shirai, and apparently they're the women's tag team champions. I think I saw them win it 4 months ago. I have not seen either wrestler since. If they've been on Hulu, they've been on a show. They haven't made Hulu. Io, I wrote slow motion next to Io Shirai. Why did I do that? I don't remember what my reasoning was. Something was happening slowly, and I don't know what it was. But be that as it may, then I put a star and I made a note, screaming idiot. So somebody in the audience, I think it must have been a child because the screaming had no rhyme or reason. It was just nonstop. This crazy high-pitched shrieking, which was, I noticed a little bit in the first match, and it was so distracting, especially in a place, in a arena that small. Hell, in an arena for a Raw or SmackDown, it would have still been noticeable. And I guess these aren't pre-planted fans anymore. These are just people. It's probably just a very limited, difficult way to get seating. So I guess these are regular fans again, which explains why they're chanting for heels and all this other crap. With that said, even if they did buy tickets, somebody should have said something. Like, this is a TV taping. It was brutal. I had a lot of trouble concentrating on this match. Because it wasn't like at a big move or at a moment. It was just like, okay, body slam, shrieking, and then 1 second later, after so and so still selling the move, it was just no there's no rhyme or reason to it. It was just a non-stop shrieking. It could not have been enjoyable because it creates no enjoyment for the people around that person. And now the audience is making no noise except for one screaming idiot. I cannot tell again if it was I couldn't tell if it was a young shrieking college girl or just like a younger girl. It was like 6 or 7 or 8 or something. I don't know. But it's hard to tell. But somebody should have did something because it was really ruining the whole thing. And it goes on throughout the show. Io pins Casey with a moonsault. 1, 2, 3. Very good. Both these matches get 7,000 stars. Don't ask me to explain the system just yet. Some other time when we have time, I'll explain my system. Right, Chris? You feeling a burn? How you doing, everybody? All right. Very good. Exhale on exertion, Chris. Okay, moving on. So I guess the gimmick is Io Shirai is not friends with, does not like Zoe Stark. Um, so Io speaks for the audience. Okay, Bob, that wasn't nice. And then this is odd. The two baby faces who lost, with all the C's and K's in their name, get attacked by Mandy Rose and her minions, and Mandy Rose has a face mask just like Sheamus, exactly like Sheamus. Um, who thought... Well, okay, let me start again. We can argue over what looks better, the gold and black logo that we know and love, or this new colorful splash. Just the same way in a bigger scale when WWF became WWE. We'll never get used to that. We'll never get used to that. And you always get used to it. Um, with that said, who thought it was a good idea to cover up Mandy Rose's face? And yeah, they're all hot chicks. I know, they're all hot chicks. But Mandy Rose is like another level of human. And we thought, no, let's do a thing where we cover up her face. Personally, wouldn't it be a better story anyway if her face was perfectly fine, but she insisted there was some imperfection or whatever, because she's like crazy obsessed with herself? But you still see the hot person on television. The hottest person on this show was covering her face, male or female. The best looking person on the show. Any show she's on, she's pretty much going to be the best looking person on the show. Why? Why would we do that to the television program? Anyway, they beat the shit out of the Friends, and I guess they want the women's tag team championships, but the two minions want it, or Mandy does. But wasn't Mandy mad at Saray for breaking her face, or Saray? And did Saray ever say she's sorry? And if she did say she's sorry, why is she telling us her name? These are all questions we need answered. I don't know. Chris, stay hydrated. What the fuck is this? This is a goddamn... This is probably a spam. I'm not going to answer that. Fuck me. Okay. There's a bachelor party. Oh wait, did I miss the gimmick? Did I? I don't really know. Let me see. Hold on. Don't go anywhere. Oh, okay. So I missed the bachelorette party. I think I just wrote bachelor party. So the bachelor party did air before this. And right away, I've given up being mad that the stuff's on a wrestling show anymore, especially on WWE. I just kind of... You can't be mad forever. I can still not like it. So it's a restaurant, and Indy Hartwell is there. Very good. To my recollection, because I guess I took no notes on this. That's how much I thought of it. What time is it? Do I have to go back to lunch yet? Hang on. No, I'm good. Give me a second. Okay, there's 98 camera angles, first of all. So there's 19 cameras there. It could not look more fake. They're having the conversation where, like, two women wrestlers who are on the underneath are just there. And they both have that perfectly scripted conversation where one of them says, girl, because they have to talk like that. Girl, a WWE, you know, a WWE wedding never goes right. Like, no one talks like that. And the other one says, oh, yeah, she's in trouble or something, or I can't believe this couple, blah, blah, blah. And they laugh at something that's not funny. It could not have been more scripted and contrived. And, of course, the camera's right behind them. Candice LeRae is unhappy with Indy Hartwell and muttering stuff under her breath. And then Indy thanks them. And it went on for a long time. There was a really goofy minute. You know how, like, Homer Simpson he got dumber every year to the point where he was barely a functional person. Like, that's how dumb WWE wrestlers have become. Because now it's just WWE wrestlers. Forget the NXT distinction. I think that's gone now. That's a thing of the past. Indy Hartwell literally asked Mackenzie, one of the blonde lady announcers. She said, "Mackenzie, are you here to interview me? Did you bring your microphone?" That's something a dumb child would ask. And Mackenzie, of course, had to answer, well, no, I'm not at work. Why would I bring that? And it made no sense. Is Indy supposed to be as dumb as possible? If you're going to have this odd couple, one of them has to be the straight man of the duo, and not necessarily man. So if Loomis is the weirdo who doesn't talk, and is allegedly a serial killer, LOL, I don't understand. then Indy has to be the straight man of this duo, so she can't also be an idiot. She has to be fairly normal for any of these things to work. For one of them to get over, she has to be normal. Okay. It ended. I mean, I think I fast forwarded this. Is what I think happened. Now I'm thinking about it. I watched this like 24 hours ago. I think I watched a minute of this 4 minute thing and went, "Oh, we were good." Anyway, the bachelor party. Okay, this was longer, or because I actually watched it. So the group is in a limo, paid for by Cameron Grimes, because Gargano said he wouldn't pay for the wedding. Gargano is there. He's unhappy to be there. Odyssey Jones, the guy who didn't win the big tournament, is there. See? I knew it. It's like last comic standing. You don't want to win the thing, you want to be runner up. And people feel for you. Gargano, Cameron, Odyssey, Drake Maverick is hanging out for reasons unknown. And the zombie referee from last October, from 11 months ago, the referee is still acting like a zombie and dressed like a zombie and looked way too much like that Drake Wirtz guy who's now fired in Florida, screaming about God and anti-vax and thinks everyone who didn't vote for Trump is a pedophile for some reason. Anyway, this isn't the same referee, but he's also very tan. They go to some like swinging awesome pro athlete bachelors do. They go do a bunch of kid things, of course. Like they did go karts and a bouncy castle and an axe throwing thing, which is now the stereotypical manly activity that every sitcom says men do that we've never done. And laser tag, of course. So basically, they're all mentally 12, including the writers in this section here. And then eventually Gargano and Loomis high five and their friends, and the women are spying on them as if they're spying on the men as if the men are at a strip club and the men are basically at Dave and Buster's. Why would the women need to spy on the men? The men didn't spy on the women when they went to a restaurant. Like, I don't get it. Frankie Monet is backstage and she's grossed out by Robert Stone. So once again, Frankie, much like Io Shirai, speaks for all of us. The hot one, Jesse Kamei, is in the back. I shouldn't talk. Whatever. There you go. Chris Miwa's got a good sweat going on right now, so that's good to hear. He's pumped. He's banging out some push-ups right now. LA Knight is driving a fancy car, and he says he's going to win the match. Tommaso Ciampa is in a self-storage unit, and he also says he's going to win the match. So one of them's lying, or maybe both of them are lying. And then Memorial Sloan Kettering, the Midget Street Crew wrestles Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch. And yeah, I was bored out of my skull, honestly. The MSK wins this thing. Yeah, they have not lost a tag team match at all. They basically, I don't know. There's a lot of goofiness. There's a whole lot of goofiness with them. They just look very not believable in everything they do and everything they say. Could do without, but they're here to stay. So, but anyway, they're not the story here because they walk up the ramp and the one MSK guy, he gives the heels a peace sign when Ridge Holland and Pete Dunne run in, who are British, to attend to Danny Burch and Oni Lorcan, who between the two of them are half British, half Bostonian. So they give the 75% British foursome. He gives them a peace sign. Like, what? You just fought. It's the opposite of peace. Pete Dunne and Ridge Holland beat down the two boring guys, so I think it's more of a Ridge Pete Dunne connection there, and that was the end of that. So I don't know what you really do when you beat down heels for losing, and haven't really been acting redeemable in any way. They're just kind of, it's like a career sacrifice. It's not unlike the day after the Montreal screw job that Jim the Anvil was like part of DX, or maybe it was a week after, whatever. He was part of DX for 30 seconds and they tricked him, so they basically had him turn on his whole system of beliefs and then shit on him. So that's basically it for Oni and Burch. I mean, they're unfortunately, I like them both. They're great wrestlers, but they're good hands in many ways. Just like Ember Moon in a lot of ways is just a good hand, and I don't know. If cuts were being made, who don't we need? The thing is, you always need guys like that. And girls. You always need wrestlers like that to get over the people you want to get over. But I don't know. If their contracts have gone too far up, if they've been making a little too much money just to be good hands, you can get rid of them and keep other people who are good hands that you're paying less. I don't know where the hell you go with them. I do know where you don't go if you get thrown over the top rope. You don't land on the hardest part of the ring. The hardest part of the ring. Okay, one more, Chris. Come on. Bang it out. You got one more set. This is what we've been training for, Chris Meanwhile. Are you feeling that burn? It's the hardest part of the ring. The hardest part of the ring. Ba-da-ba-da.